Issue forth from your cities, O people of the West, and aid God ere the day when the Lord of mercy shall come down unto you in the shadow of the clouds with the angels circling around him, exalting his praise and seeking forgiveness for such as have truly believed in our signs. Verily his decree hath been issued, and the command of God, as given in the Mother Book, hath indeed been revealed. Become as true brethren in the one and indivisible religion of God, free from distinction, for verily God desireth that your hearts should become mirrors unto your brethren in the faith, so that ye find yourselves reflected in them, and they in you. This is the true path of God, the Almighty, and he is indeed watchful over your actions.
Let me introduce you to Haji Sulayman Khan. This Haji was a young nobleman living in the capital, Tehran. He was from a military family, and his father was in charge of all the king's horses. His government connections gave him immunity from the persecution other Babis faced. Still, this Haji was a fighter, but also a devout Babi. He studied under Sayyid Kazim, and it was his dream to meet the Qayyim. He wanted more than anything to fight at Tabarsi, but couldn't because he had arrived too late. He idolized the veterans of Tabarsi in his city and visited them often. His deepest desire was to join in the fray and use his fighting skills to serve the Báb. One day in 1850, he received a letter from the Báb himself.
6 months from the time of this writing, I shall suffer martyrdom in Tabriz along with one named Mirza Muhammad Ali. Be it incumbent on thee to observe an attitude of patience and self-restraint. Neither must thou contend with anyone. 2 nights after my martyrdom thou must go, and by some means or other, by my body and the body of Mirza Muhammad Ali, from the sentinels for 400 tumans.
Haji Sulayman Khan, determined not to let the Báb die, leaves his home in Tehran immediately to rescue him. He didn't care that he was going to have to travel over 390 miles on horse and foot to Tabriz to save him. Meanwhile, many people were becoming Babis, including Mirza Muhammad Ali, but we know him today as Anís. This youth, having heard the message of the Báb, felt an irrepressible longing to sacrifice himself in his path, much to his family's upset. As the popularity of the Báb increased and more people became Babis, the tension in the city rose, erupting into violent upheavals in Zanjan and Nayriz, where many Babis were killed with the government's approval. Haji Sulayman Khan wished more than anything to fight in the name of the Báb, or at least rescue him from this dreaded fate, but it appears that his mission was leading him down a different path. Knowing the time was near when the Báb would be reunited with the object of his adoration, he made preparations by sending some very special items from his prison cell in Tariq to the Blessed Beauty, Janab Baha'u'llah. 40 days later, the Prime Minister had had enough of the Babi upheavals, and he ordered the execution of the Báb, just as the Báb predicted. After arriving in Tabriz, the Báb was paraded throughout the streets by a procession of officials on his way to the barracks, only to be met by Anís. Overcome with the fire of his faith, Anís burst through the crowd and threw himself at the feet of the Báb.
Send me not from thee, O Master. Wherever thou goest, suffer me to follow thee. Hearing the confirmation of his soul's desire, Anís was seized by the guards
and joined the Báb on his way to share in his fate. That night, in the jail cell with his companions, the Báb was aglow with joy.
Tomorrow will be the day of my martyrdom. Would that one of you might now arise and with his own hands end my life. I prefer to be slain by the hand of a friend rather than by that of the enemy.
The men in the cells shrunk away and averted their eyes. No one could dream of harming this precious soul. Except Anís. Out of his love for the Báb, he was determined to carry out his every wish, even if that wish was to end that very same life. Seeing this demonstration of the fire of Anís' devotion, the Báb invited this youth to share with him in the cup of martyrdom. The next morning, Anís' family rushed to the courthouse where the Bábís were to be given the last chance to recant their faith and to save their own lives. His family tried to sway him, but his immovable spirit wanted nothing more than to declare the truth of his soul. I am a Bábí. Soon, the time came for the Báb and his devoted companion Anís to be taken before the firing squad. A guard came to collect them.
Not until I have said to him all those things that I wish to say can an earthly power silence me. Though all the world be armed against me, yet shall it be powerless to deter me from fulfilling to the last word my intention.
Undeterred, the guard went forward with his task. Sam Khan, head of the regiment of soldiers that was to execute the Báb, and also a devout Christian, pled, saying that if his cause be the cause of truth, to please be released from his terrible obligation. The Báb, instructing him to proceed with his orders, assured him that God would release him if his plea was sincere. The Báb and Anís were brought out to the barracks, and before a firing squad of Sam Khan's 750 men.
Master, art thou content with me?
Verily, Muhammad Ali is with us in paradise.
The regiment of soldiers fired. The smoke cleared. A wave of shock and surprise swept the crowd. The Báb was gone. All that stood in the place of two bodies were shattered ropes littering the ground surrounding a smiling Anís. After a frantic and lengthy search of the grounds, the barracks guard decided to do one last sweep of the Báb's jail cell. Lo and behold, whom should he find there but the Báb himself, finishing the conversation with his associate, as promised. Dumbstruck, that same guard quit his job on the spot. Upon recounting the events of that day to his neighbor, the neighbor then immediately declared his faith in the Báb and his cause, becoming a Bábí at that moment. Sam Khan, realizing this was the work of God, immediately quit his post, refusing to allow himself or his men to take any more part in harming a hair on that blessed head, even if it were to cost him his own life. Before long, a new regiment of soldiers was summoned, and the Báb and his companion Anís were strung up together once again. Addressing the officials responsible for his execution, the Báb spoke one last time.
O wayward generation, had you believed in me, every one of you would have followed the example of this youth, who stood in rank above most of you, and willingly would have sacrificed himself in my path. The day will come when you will have recognized me. That day I shall have ceased to be with you.
The 2nd Regiment fired.
love in my heart is too great. This world gives me no fear. This fire will burn all the darkness away. I will give it all for you. My life, I would give it to. All I want is to be close with you. I pray for weeks on end, till one day you appear in a mighty vision. You said my desire would be fulfilled, and I will give it all for you. My life, I would give it to. All I want is to be close with you. The day will come when you will have recognized me. The day will come when you will have recognized me. Ooh. I will follow you forever. I will sacrifice it all. Anís, he gave it all for you. Anís, his life he gave it to. All he wanted was to be close with you. All he wanted was to be close with you. All I want is to be close with you.
The 2nd Regiment fired. This time, they did not miss.
Just too far outside the city, Haji Sulayman Khan falls to his knees. He was too late to save the Báb. His heart was broken. He had never known a greater sorrow. Distraught, sword drawn, and tears streaming down his face, he remembered the object of the Promised One's mission for him. By some means or another, secure the holy remains.
6 months from the time of this writing, I shall suffer martyrdom in Tabriz along with one named Mirza Muhammad Ali. Be it incumbent on thee to observe an attitude of patience and self-restraint. Neither must thou contend with anyone. 2 nights after my martyrdom thou must go, and by some means or other, by my body and the body of Mirza Muhammad Ali, from the sentinels for 400 tumans, and keep them in thine house for 6 months. Afterwards lay Aga Muhammad Ali with his face upon my face, place the 2 bodies in a strong chest, and send it with a letter to Janabi Baha. Great is his majesty. There is nothing else for thee to do. The clothes which I wore are thine.
Haji Sulayman Khan knew just what to do. He had connections in this city and headed straight to the mayor of Tabriz and proceeded to hatch a plan. The mayor called friends to help, and they located the holy remains of these two blessed souls. They're at the city moat. Two sentinels keep watch. They bring money, bring swords, whatever it takes. At the edge of the moat of Tabriz, these friends made their presence known and their intentions clear. No mere sentinel would dare to deny them.
Haji Sulayman Khan and his companions retrieved the remains of the Báb and Anís from the sentinels guarding them. Following precisely the instructions the Báb laid out for him, Haji Sulayman Khan directed the enshrouding of the holy bodies. Just before the coffin was closed, Haji Sulayman Khan, in secret, bid his beloved a final farewell.
They pulled the bodies down from the post and then laid them down on the stones. Dragged the remains through crowded streets to dump at the edge of a moat. And soldiers were placed, guard at the side, to stop anyone coming near. That the indignity could be seen far and wide. The outcome was certain and clear. The outcome was certain and clear. But rivers of light were guiding their path, guiding their course, were there at their side. That most sacred trust was washed in the night by rivers of light. By rivers of light. Sulayman Khan, he came to Tabriz with one thing he had in mind: to rescue the Báb wherever he was, even if he had to die. He told the mayor had a friend who was born with a cast iron will. He stole the bodies with Sulayman Khan, who wrapped them in covers of silk. He wrapped them in covers of silk. Oh, rivers of light, winding their way, long winding road, down to the sea. A faraway bay was ever in sight of rivers of light, of rivers of light. But how Allah charted each step of their path, each move that casket would take. Kept in one place at least 18 years, till he thought it unsafe. The summons they came, move it again. The friends took it out in the night. When they opened that lid to check the shroud, they found a dried flower inside. They found a dried flower inside. Sulayman Khan, did you place that flower so tenderly in that dark hour before you went out like a fire on rivers of light, on rivers of light. Oh, 30 more years that promise changed hands from us to the homes of the friends. Till came the call, send them with care to the land where their legacy began. Gone Damascus, Beirut, that precious trucks traveled by, reaching Akka on the 31st day of the year 1899, of the year 1899. Abdul Baha was the one who took charge. After 10 years, laid rest to the Báb. Tears fell like rain, silver and fine, like rivers of light, like rivers of light, rivers of light, guarding their paths, guiding their course. We're there by their side. If you go to Carmel by day or night, then you'll find the shrine bathed in rivers of light.
You can't keep me here. The love in my heart is too great. This world gives me no fear. This fire will burn all the darkness away. I will give it all for you. My life, I would give it to you. All I want is to be close with you. I prayed for weeks on end, till one day you appeared in a mighty vision. You said my desire would be fulfilled, and I will give it all for you. My life, I would give it to you. All I want is to be close with you. The day will come when you will have recognized me. The day will come when you will have recognized me. I will follow you forever. I will sacrifice it all.